Jews all over the world are gathered tonight, gathered in this sacred Yom Kippur night. This night that our rabbis imagined was the night of an epic moment, a terrifying moment in our journey through the wilderness to the promised land. This night of our people, many moons ago, we had already made a break for freedom and entered the wilderness to get to the promised land. We were now at the foot of Mount Sinai, in the wilderness, not sure what was ahead, and scared. Maybe we should go back. Maybe where we have come from, the slavery was awful, but it was known, and it is so hard to be in the unknown. Maybe let's go back. It's dangerous to go back, yet somehow safer in a twisted way because it's known, and we are so scared. We need something that will help us. Someone, there's an idea. Let's take our jewelry, let's melt it down, let's make it into a calf. Something concrete, something that we can feel will help us. And where's Moses? Moses, he left. He's up on the mountain. It's been so long. Where is he? Moses up on that mountain, he was also feeling terror. His own and that of the people. The people seemed so scared and so unsure about all of this. And can I remind you, God, that I didn't want this? Remember I said that I couldn't do this. I have trouble with my speech, and this was not a role that I wanted. Moses so scared too. And then a great rage from God. You better go down and see what those people are doing. As if it couldn't get any worse. He goes down and look what they're doing. Just after receiving the instruction to not do this, here they are dancing around a golden calf. It's too much. It's simply too much. In all of his own rage, Moses takes the tablets and he smashes them. Anger, despair. Oh, no. Now everything is worse again. It didn't help to smash the tablets. Now their fear, my fear, all of our fear is overwhelming. We can also be so afraid, so full of worry. And it's often at nighttime when we put down the device and we turn off Netflix and we put down the drink or whatever it is that we use to run from our fears and our day and our distractions to keep us from what we feel. The worry about our kids, the worry about our country, the worry about our marriages, about our health, about the fires, about the storms that somehow keep coming, and the mortgages and the changes ahead and the not enough changes ahead. I know for me the night can be where I feel fear and worry the strongest. In this past year, I would sometimes startle awake in the night and find my head, and for a moment before I would touch my head, I would think this has all been a crazy nightmare. This is not happening. And then I would touch my head and there would be no hair or just a stubble from the chemotherapy. And I would think, oh no, God, this is really happening. It was not a dream. But smashing the tablets is not a good option. And it turns out that it's not the only option. Moses takes a breath. He realizes that the people are afraid and they are trying. And he realizes that he is afraid, but he is trying. Scared people do scary things. Moses goes back to God and pleads for the people, pleads for forgiveness, and he also pleads for help for himself. He says that we're not going to go forward unless we know for sure that you are with us. We may have just messed up, but we can't continue through this wilderness unless we know that you are with us. The rabbis tell us that God wraps a talit in this moment and teaches Moses this prayer to be used by him and to be used for generations to come, for us to know that we are not alone and God is with us. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, compassionate and full of grace, slow to anger and abounding in kindness, faithfulness, and truth. Moses, wrapped in a talit, learns this prayer for the first time this Kol Nidre night. The rabbi tells us it is this night. The people are forgiven, and Moses is wrapped in care. All year long, we wear a talit only in the daytime, but on this night, this Kol Nidre night, we, like Moses, are wrapped in the talit. And maybe it is not an actual talis you are wearing tonight, but we are all wrapped in this moment in care, in kindness, in compassion, reminding us we are not alone. We are not alone. We are held in love and compassion all of the time. Can we really feel this? Is this actually possible to feel the texture of this cloth? The presence of the source holding us? I would lay in the night feeling the fear for myself, for my husband, for my children. And I would open to this rachum, this one of compassion holding me. And chanun, with grace, Rav Chesed ve'emet, and abundant loving kindness and truth. I am not going to run from this fear or lash out at other people, raging. I'm not going to start smashing tablets or get immobilized by fear and do nothing. This is often what happens to us when we are afraid. We take it out on others. We punish ourselves. We get immobilized and we do nothing. What if there is a different way? A way, especially in these moments of heightened anxiety, worry, and fear, to know that we are wrapped in this compassion and feel how it changes how we move in the world, how I care for others, how I care for myself, how our bodies can heal, how we can move through such scary times in our nation and in our world. Some people call this God. Some people call it love, or loving kindness, or energy, or makom, or shalom, or many of the many words, 72 or more that we have in our tradition to describe this experience. So many words, because there's so many ways in. The Jewish tradition gives us many ways in, many theologies. We have all these words, all these names, so we can find many ways in, and so we don't have to pin it down. But you don't have to call it anything. But you can feel it. You don't have to get hooked up in the, oh, Rabbi, I decided at 14 I don't believe in God. That's fine. There are many ways in to feel this compassion and kindness wrapping around you when you are full of fear and worry and pain. This is a real idea, not just an esoteric thought. You can take a moment with eyes closed, and you can think of someone specifically who loves you or who you love, or a place that makes you feel loved, and just sit, eyes closed, feeling this kind of care daily. It's a practice that you can cultivate, or once in a blue moon, or once when you only really need it. At first, it may be hard to feel, but it's something that you can practice and feel. At the foot of the mountain, when the people acted out so poorly, and they really screwed up, here was this prayer given, not just for them, but for all of us in the generations to come, because they knew then that we would also continue to mess up. There was a knowing those many centuries ago that we too were going to need such a prayer, that we too, out of our fear and our insecurity, would use sad strategies and mess up again. We still have to do the work to mend the broken places in our hearts and in our country and with others that we love. This is not a feel love and be all good kind of sermon. I'm not saying that it's that easy. We have messed up. We have lied and cheated and sent things out loud that we never should have said. We've been self-destructive, destructive of our businesses, of our families, of our community. This is not just missing the mark. We've used our power in ways that are simply wrong, and we know that we have done and said or failed to do and failed to say things we should have said, but we begin here. This night begins with the giving of the new tablets. We are forgiven here. We are held in compassion here, and how we begin matters. We start with compassion and chesed so that we have this compass in the wilderness, a direction for how to move forward to repair the damage. The inside of this journey matters. Filled with compassion and grace, we then move towards others with compassion and grace and honesty, emet, truth. In feeling held, we can hold honestly and without denial. We can acknowledge what we've done and make it better. We come tonight to mend the broken places from here, and it will direct where we go. When Moses appeals to God, he does so again and again in the name of our ancestors. Our ancestors, yes. If you're still not with me on the God or makom or energy or wherever we're calling it, what about our ancestors? We can think about them gathered around this mountain, and of every generation, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-aunts, our great-uncles, who imagined you in the future. They imagined that you would be born, and they were loving you already. They delight in how different you are from them, and they delight in how the same you are than them. Our generations all the way back, starting on this mountain. There is now incredible research about epigenetics that we can pass on a physiological level experiences that were not in our genes, which now become parts of our bodies. Our experiences that then affect our cells, our families, our lives. For example, research is showing that trauma in our cells can carry from one generation to the next. But I want to put out a new idea tonight. Just as trauma can be passed on, so can the love and the hope and the aspirations of our ancestors, our grandparents and great-grandparents, for us, to us. And so can the love and the care and the hope and the compassion and the aspirations we have for the generations that will come after us. It is for our healing and it is for their healing. It is for their mending, their atoning that gets passed on to us that we can pass on to them. It continues into the generations ahead and ours. It was a gift to us, and our atoning, our mending is for them. They send their love to us now, our ancestors gathered at the mountain. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. The words of Isai Maria Barnwell, we are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. El Rachum, the compassionate one, is holding us. El Chanun, full of grace, we are held. Rav Chesed and Emet, full of kindness and truth. Our ancestors, they are holding us, and we hold the ones to come. We move forward through this wilderness, doing the work that this day requires of us to mend the broken places in our hearts, to mend the broken places with those we love, with our world, with our generation, and for us and the generations to come. May you feel compassion and kindness surrounding you. And may you do the deep work that this day was created for. Shana Tova.